the unkillable Demon King, aka Faker. In 3 out of the last 4 years, Sang-hyuk Lee has led SK Telecom T1, the undisputed best team in League of Legends, to 3 World Championship titles. Now he finds himself in his 4th Worlds Group stage, and he continues to build his legacy as the player challengers from across the globe come to fight against to test their mettle and prove their worth. Faker is currently at 18-2 across 4 Worlds Group stages. He holds the record for most kills as well as most games won across all those games and in Worlds history. Now we heard it from the man himself. If you want to become a legend, you got to beat him not only once, but over and over. Today he steps on stage again to defend his reign as a new challenger approaches. And today, it's Chowie's turn. So let's head over to our casters and get into the game.
Thank you, Jacques, for loading up for our next game. That's right, SKT versus AHQ. 2 teams with a long history in this tournament. The players are getting ready on stage as we speak. Let's move ourselves into the starting lineups. On the blue side, we'll start with the royalty themselves, SKT. In the top lane, Huni. In the jungle, Peanut. The unkillable Demon King himself, Faker. Their bot laner, Bang. Support Wolf. And their coach, Koma.
Of course, the legend they need to take out multiple times. Fighting them from the red side. This game, we have AHQ in the top lane, Ziv. Jungle, Mountain. Mid lane, Chowie. ADC, Arn. Support, Albus. And their coach, Green Team.
And we heard already, I think the big story for this game is that Chowie is starting instead of Westor making his debut at World 2017.
Yeah, and we were suspicious this might be happening yesterday after Westor had his second poor game in a row. They do have a history of swapping them in the LMS. Chowie in the summer split, as you can see, had a pretty good KDA and generally decent stats. Nothing insane, though, that would overwhelmingly make him the starter over Westor. When I see AHQ subbing Chowie in it, it's often for better individual laning and mechanics, but they think they have better team play skills in Westor, so we're going to have to see how this one shakes out.
Which is curious. We were speculating last night as well that Westor is very good against Faker for some reason, just for some unknown reason. Against Faker in particular, he seems to be okay, but Chowie, you would argue, is the better individual player in current form, and so it doesn't make, it does make sense rather to bring him in for a game like this against the star power they're against. They can't just lose lane. They need to win lane against SKT. That's always been the mantra.
Yeah, it is kind of tough to say exactly where AHQ are going to be looking to find their footing because, Faker, very, very good player. That cannot be, I think, overstated at this point, given the man's career. But you got a lot of other players to worry about as well. SKT have already proven twice this tournament that they will find wins no matter what.
Exactly. I think Bang and Wolf have been the unsung heroes of SKT so far this tournament. They're also 2-time world champions in their own right, so really a force to be reckoned with in the bottom lane in this very bot-focused meta, so they're the ones that could also carry SKT.
Yeah, and what we said, or what we saw yesterday, is that we can sing their praise many times over with how well they played against EDG, even from a 10k deficit, showing that in this world, even in group stage, they're here to win.
Well, we'll see what happens in the draft, of course. We've got Galio, Rakan, and Renekton, banned by SK Telecom T1. Kalista and Jarvan, they're over on the other side for AHQ.
Yeah, the Renekton ban looks a little peculiar, but you also have to keep in mind that Ziv is the carry top laner of the LMS. So they're just trying to make sure that he doesn't have any big comfort picks. They are leaving Jace up, which was one of his big ones as well, but if we have seen a lot of Jaces at Worlds, they do get outscaled often, and it looks like SKT will be willing to go up against him.
And this is curious as well, going for the first pick that SK Telecom have gone towards. AHQ with a wealth of options. That's the big thing from these bans. You've got Gragas, you've got both Lulu and Janna that stand to attention as well, with just Rakan gone. And then Tristana in the AD carry position if you'd like as well. There's just so many options that I feel like SKT chose the one they wanted the most.
Yeah, AHQ could have just gone Trist Lulu, which is not that odd of a thing, but it depends on where they put their priorities and the type of game that they want to play. And also, we can't be too quick to write off AHQ at all in this tournament because, yes, they were looked at from a lot of us, our analysts, as the lowest tier team in this group, but they came back against EDG. Then we watched EDG push SK Telecom to the brink. So you need to watch more of it shake out. A team like AHQ can't necessarily be judged off of domestic play because they so often make it to Worlds and come up in the clutch. So this is the game that you have to judge them by.
Well, Gragas and Janna picked up at AHQ, so actually taking Janna over Lulu. Haven't seen too much of that this tournament, and SKT will respond by taking the Lulu themselves. If current drop trends are to be stayed with here. I think 80 carries up next. Yep, that's where I was going.
Yeah, and perhaps the concern and the reason that they've taken Janna is so that you can't have the Twitch Janna combo. It is still Lulu Janna, which is very potent, but it means that they get Janna for themselves, and this is where Tristana can come into play once again. Pretty strong when you look at it.
Yeah. There's also Xayah still on the table, which is a very common pick with Janna as well.
Kind of interesting to see Kog'Maw also being open. SKT though, I guess opting for Bank's Twitch instead. And looks like AHQ are going to go with Xayah as we move into ban phase number 2. So we've seen a lot of drafts start like this. See exactly where the next phase of bans goes to and which solo lane is going to start getting targeted.
Yeah, we said this yesterday as well. Picking Xayah into Twitch, it's okay. Very low-range champion in comparison to Twitch with ultimate up though, as you hit mid-game, as you hit late game. So that's the risk that AHQ are going to be running, hoping perhaps that SKT run towards them so Xayah can kite back and utilize the feathers effectively. But then who's hitting Twitch?
Yeah, iBoy had a pretty good game against it yesterday, but there's still plenty to be decided in this draft, as you mentioned, Pastry Time, continually banning out those top laners for Ziv. And you're expecting AHQ to probably ban out the mid laners for Faker, as that is the most feared opponent on both sides.
I think if you're in the dark against Faker and you get a chance to, banning Cassio is pretty good given how lane dominant he is on the champion, but Kassadin is not the one I would have expected as AHQ picked that up as their second mid lane ban.
Fair number of mid laners still going to be up.
Yeah, Corki as well. Perhaps if they want to be super defensive, knowing that it might be Orianna for Faker, Hextra and Kayusa. If you want to go the route of not losing lane, I feel like that's a viable option.
Well, we'll see what SKT do. Top lane still targeted. There's Trundle banned away, which probably signals a tank is on the way.
So interesting, right? How Trundle doesn't make an appearance until 2 games where he smashed the Cho'Gath, and everyone's else like, let's just make sure that we're not ready for that yet. Let's ban it away. Look good. Like,